And record. Wanted to thank you guys. Welcome to the Q&A. We do these at least once a week now. It's been a journey going on 15 years, and amazingly, not everybody can watch every video I do, so I just put out the same content over and over, asked a different way. I get it. You know, I'm trying to figure out how to knowledge base it, categorize it, make it so that everybody can find solutions to previously asked questions a little bit easier. So forgive me. Um, I do want to address a couple things. I I used to do 15-minute consults for free for people, and a guy gave me on the phone and started this last week, started asking questions that were unrelated to the living in the private program. And it got to be a conversation that was just kind of challenging, and not challenging knowledge base wise. It's challenging because I told him about his status as a national, and he kind of took it like I was personally attacking his decisions. And I wasn't. Everybody fell for 8 USC 1101 821 until you understand what you're making allegiance to. It is what it is. So the terms American national, national of the United States, state national, all those terms, non-existent in the law. Some of them are existent in statute and code, but not in any law. And you don't have the Supreme Court supporting it. And then when you find out who you're actually making your allegiance to, it's a federal territory. So in that conversation, the guy said, and his response was kind of pretty rude. Well, since you're the know-it-all or whatever, why don't you just take the next 15 minutes and you explain to me why I should use your services? And I didn't know how to respond to that kind of, I was just trying to help him. And unfortunately, people in their past life, what they had going on as a childhood or some abuse or bully or guru or whatever, um, wronged them. And, I just want to encourage you guys, be self-governed, you know, um, understand who you are and aren't. And we should be operating in humility. And, not all of us know everything, but when you're asking for somebody else's time and you're asking for them to help you and to explain things to you, you really should be in a position of humility, not anything else. I just said, dude, it's not a good fit. And I said, have a great day. And we moved on. And that's really what, I really want to work with people that, get it and have done the research. And then I did a little research on him and background on him, and I come to find out he wasn't even a member of hisadvocates.org. So he really just joined, got got the phone number and dialed and said, I want to talk to the main guy. He never did any research on us or watched any videos. He started, his first question was, I heard you say that you can operate without a driver's license. I've never said that. I said it's 100% lawful that you can travel the roads without a driver's license. The Supreme Court has already ruled that. Um, do I train people on that? No. But anyway, so I look like a ghost. Is it the lighting? Donald, I look like a ghost? I don't know what to tell you, buddy. I'm streaming, I'm doing my best. Maybe it's the lighting, maybe I need to change the lighting some. Like if I reach up and start doing that right now. Anyway, sorry, Donald. Look like a ghost. Anyway, so we got a live question in the background from somebody saying I went to a bank and I was denied a claim, in Maryland does not allow non-Inc. business account. Yeah, they do. We've done Maryland a lot, and my next suggestion was just get me on the phone as your counsel. And he said I offered that suggestion, and they said no. And I said, Well, let me help you understand. Nobody can stop you from calling private counsel or an attorney at any time during a conversation to help you open up a bank account. Nobody controls you. As a matter of fact, I want you to do an exercise. Everybody, if you can do this exercise with me, hold your hands out on your side like this, stick out your chest, and breathe in and just own it. Just own, feel that. Feel the power, Feel it. Just own it. Feels good. It's don't put the shoulders down. Don't put the head down. Don't operate in defeat. Head back, chin up, okay? And then add this. Feel it, feels good, you know? Own your situations that you're in and manage them. Don't let them manage you. It's the best advice I could ever give anybody. When somebody tells me no, I just lean forward and I say respectfully, I'm not going to argue with you, but this is what's going to happen right now. And that changes volumes in a conversation. I'm sorry. Do I need to talk to a manager to get this accomplished? Because maybe there's something you don't know because the account number I just gave you is proof of what you said is being completely inerrant and false. Telling me I can't have my counsel on with me to help ask questions pertaining to how to structure up an account. Are you sure you want to give me legal advice? Because that's who I pay to give me legal advice. Are you sure? It's all in the approach, guys. And part of that is posture. Part of that is tone inflection with a smile. Part of that is hands on the side, and owning the moment, not controlling, not being rude, not being boisterous, but just owning the moment. There is such a power in confidence when you know who you are. It's such a powerful statement. Walking into a room, everybody should be staring at you, and it's not because you're beautiful. It's just because there's power. It's just because you're confident in who you are. And I just want to share that with you, as silly as that sounds. If you're going to go to the United States Post Office and ask for something different, you got to do it with some tone and some inflection and some a powerful position and statement and with a smile. And these guys don't get paid crap, and this is their livelihood, and they want to be in control. They got nothing. This is all they're ever in control of, is taking paper A and moving it to paper B. What a life. That sucks. I got it. So let's help them have an enjoyable time and get our stuff done for us. While we're there, we don't need to be arguing points with people that are opening up bank accounts. Ooh, or people on the side of the road that have been trained by at the FBI to just arrest the sovereign citizen. Don't waste your time with these people. Don't argue with these people. You see these people on the side of the road. I know my rights. I don't need to have a driver's license and drive. Well, what, are you crazy? You want to argue with four cops that are ready to beat your windows in and you're a female? Are you crazy? Stop it. There will be a time when we can educate people into a position that allows us to grow beyond where we're at right now. But until then, we have to deal with this. And I actually talk about this a bit in the book, in that yes, we're still got one more meeting. Hopefully tomorrow it'll be done. And then we'll get a load to get it approved and get it all. We've got a lot of stuff in the works, and I'm trying to do it right. And we're trying to make this right. We don't want anything to be wrong with this. And so just know that. Um, and just know that every day, every time we meet, something happens and we're still working through it. So I know I made some promises and to get the book out. It just has not happened in a timely fashion. But trust me when I tell you, when it does happen, it'll be well worth it. And just be patient. I'm not going to make another promise in a day. Um, so Donald, the background isn't black. I'm looking at it on YouTube, and we have a Q&A set of numbers behind me. It might be just on your screen there. I don't know. But the background isn't black. It was when we first started. and that did not look right, but I switched the background and put a blue Q&A in the background. So, um, anyway, I got a lot of questions, so I'm gonna get right on it. The first question is gonna sound a little bit weird. It's from a guy I've known for about 15 years, and I got to give him some credit because he's trying his hardest to understand things, and he wants to do right by his creator. And I have no problem with somebody trying to get things right by their creator. And so I'm going to take a little bit of time on this question. His name is Robert. And this question may sound weird to you. That's okay. Just understand that it is what it is, and he's just trying to figure out how to get through life and not piss off God, not piss off man, and to operate privately. And so the first question is pertaining to a passport. He's interested in the passport under the kingdom of heaven and with the Department of State to draft an application. I'm just going to go through this quick. That has changed his status. Born of the Northern Hemisphere, meets and bounds land issued, da, 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 a state of citizen passport. Would the Department of State issue a state citizen of heaven passport? I'm truly not a citizen of the United States. I am not a resident of the federal state of New Jersey, and as important as being in the Republic state citizen, I have come to comprehend I cannot serve two masters. The motto of our countryman was, "We have no king but King Jesus." Thus, I am an heir, thus a citizen of heaven and the Father Yahoo, and Yahushua, which is Yah and Yahushua, which is Jesus. Anyway, Kelby, let's break bread together. So, great question, and I am going to articulate a very precise answer to help him to understand better what a state citizen is. So, when you go back to the Declaration of Independence, God was the grantor. The beneficial interests were the people. The people were coming together as a body politic, one body, saying, "He is king, and we are self-governed." They formed states out of these colonies. The states were not corporate. The states were a body of people, once again, citizens under God, the king of the universe. As citizens under a state body of people, joined together under the Declaration, saying he is king, you essentially are getting the closest thing here on earth to a citizenship in heaven, because there is nothing between you and your creator. You are self-governed, and God is your king. Yeshua is the beneficial interest of all things here on this earth. You're operating in a capacity with one of the people as a sovereign, even though you can't walk on water. I get it, but there is Supreme Court rulings that says the sovereignty of the king, meaning the king of England, passed to the state being the body of people. State citizens are sovereign under God. I haven't figured out how to walk on water, and I really can't. I don't really like the term sovereign for myself. But if the law of this nation wants to say that I am self-governed, which I believe I am, which I am under God directly, which I believe I am, which I am heir to his kingdom and kingship, which, you know, read your word. I think that I'm okay with an understanding that the law provides the safety net of me being the sovereign as a state of the Union citizen. Now, please understand, a state citizen is not a party to the United States. A state citizen is not a party to being a federal citizen. A state citizen could be looked at as a citizenship in and under heaven, being the fact that there is nothing between you and God, and that you are self-governed under God, and the only thing that matters is the Ten Commandments. So I've always looked at state citizenship as like a citizenship in heaven, but we have it right here on earth. Now I know the biblical citizenship in heaven is different maybe to some people. To me, it's not all that different. You can have an operation under God straight here on earth, and man acknowledges it. That's very interesting at the very least. And so understand that no, your passport isn't going to say citizen of heaven, but it's going to talk about the creation of the state and the United States of America, which is not synonymous with the United States. It's not the same. The United States of America passport issued by the Department of State is different, meaning it's not a different passport. The U.S. citizen gets the same passport as a citizen of the United States of America. I know people want to say the P stands for pauper. I know people want to talk about the stars and the stars having a reflection of your status as a national, and they don't even understand national. I know there's a lot of rumors and myths and different things, and I'm not going to get into this with people. Just when you've been doing this at the amount that we have been doing this, you kind of know the truth, and you're just going to stand on it, and you're not going to make arguments with people who've never done this before at all and who are all of a sudden a guru and making claims, and don't even offer customer support to their own members who are they're helping become nationals and nationals of the United States and or an American national. Those are all traps. And there's people that used to represent that and have probably stopped since I started coming against the word national, but attacked me directly, these people and defended the word national, even though national hasn't even been decided upon by the Supreme Court as being synonymous with State of the Union citizen. As a matter of fact, all these people that really want to hang on to this word national and American national and state national, why? They use these affidavits, I am this, this, and this, and this, and then they use state citizenship Supreme Court rulings. So if you're a state citizen, use the word state citizen because words in law matter. They just do. And so for you, Robert, um, I can't give you a passport that says citizenship in heaven, but the entirety of this earth, Revelation 5, belongs to Yahushua, Jesus, and it was granted by his Father. And under that, we can have a passport issued by the Department of State through the United States of America. And my book will explain why, as a state citizen, you fall under that jurisdiction of being directly under the Elohim. And so just know that. And we're trying to do right by you and your faith. And you just have to look at things maybe a little bit different. But you are under no corporation when you do it the way that we do it. Second question from David. Concerning the census, President Trump wants done. How do we answer census questions as private citizens of the United States of America? I don't. How does a parent who has children have no social security numbers answer on the census? You don't. Second question. We have heard within okay, so that goes back to posture, shoulders back, chin up, hands on the side. Okay. You're okay. You can say no. You really can. Because a form hits your mailbox and somebody says you have to do something does not mean you have to do it. Okay. Because somebody sends some scary language to you does not mean that that's something you have to do. Okay. Second question. We've heard that within the contracts of 401ks, there are loopholes or outs to forego paying the penalty for early withdrawal. Are you aware of such a thing? I've heard about it. And would expect one to get real help from a lawyer or CPA to find it. Just, I would go and read it. And I would go and ask them about it directly. What is the loophole? Because they're going to tell you. And I would make a demand that no payment go to the IRS if you were already a state citizen, and I would object to and or them taking any payment out in advance. Let them deal with you directly after the fact. Just try it that way. Question number 3. Is it correct that stablecoins were quietly tokenized on July 18th? I can't say that, and that the Genius Act helps to steal the wealth in this way from the people, making it possible to put us under the control of the government and not decentralized as with Bitcoin, Bitcoin is not decentralized. Ethereum is not decentralized. Is Trump aware of this or behind it? Your thoughts, please. I don't really have a lot of thoughts on this. I'm going to tell you that cryptocurrency, by far, if anybody wants to believe that it's decentralized, that's the biggest joke of all. As Bitcoin and XRP and many other coins were created by the NSA or come out of the NSA. And I think that the idea of Bitcoin being decentralized is a joke. The second a controlling party owns the majority of one token, they can push it, pull it, whatever. The first 3,000 coins of XRP, I think, have something to do with Bitcoin, and they're hidden, or 3,000 nut coins transactions, excuse me. I think there's a lot we don't know. I think the important thing to understand is getting crypto that has a low value today with high use case that will go up in value in the future, and putting it on a cold storage wallet and not doing the typical things. I'm not going to talk about storage security. I'm not going to talk about, all the things that we have in the past. I think doing that is the safest bet. You're going to have a ton of capital down the road, differentiating you from somebody else. And capital speaks volumes in any situation, any status, any jurisdictional position. Your ability to buy and sell and move assets is critical in nature for the future well-being of you and your family. So don't play the game in your mind that you need to understand everything. Um, Understand that these hard wallets were designed to protect the elite, the super powerful, um, and they wouldn't be playing this game unless they were safe in their position with their hard wallets. Um, and yes, there is a theme going on of ripping off people, ripping off the wealth of the nation. Currently, it's being done by, yes, creating these acts, the Genius Act. Yes, not putting any language in there specific to the denouncing of the CDBC for the United States. There's a lot of things wrong with what's going on. What is right is your status and your cash on your hard wallet. Those are two right things. Stay there. That's all you got to focus on. And if you are going through something, do not give your keywords away. If you're trying to do a restore of a wallet and you need help, do not give your keywords away online to anybody. And this is the only thing I'm gonna say to people, because we got a lot of people watching. If you're ever on a computer, you notice I have two things that are always right by each other: my computer and my Faraday sleeve. This is a computer that I use exclusively for my crypto transactions. Why one computer? Because it's stripped. It's got security on it. It's got tunnels on it, VPN. And if that computer ever goes black in the middle of a transaction, within 1/2 of a second, it's unplugged and in the Faraday sleeve, and I'll let the battery burn out. Why? Because it will disengage it from the network. And what's happening is there's people out there that are gullible enough, stupid enough to put in their keywords because some software, some update is requesting it. And it was a phishing scam from a scammer. They put their keywords in, their computer goes black, and they go, They shut the lid on it, and the guys are in the background working at moving all their money. It's that simple. They can make your screen go black and make you think that your computer's doing something, and it'll say updating 1 moment, please, right on the screen, or it'll be black. Put your computer that you're using for any of your crypto stuff. Make sure you have a VPN. Make sure there's no malware on it. Make sure you don't have any other software on it. Strip that computer of everything. And when you're live on some kind of transaction, you got your VPNs turned on, 1 or 2 minimum, and you're not answering an email, answering a text, saying Security has been need for your device needs to be updated. What are your words? This seems to be the most gullible, but it's happening with people all over the world with hundreds of thousands of dollars. Smart people, the schemes are rampant. And just if anything happens to you, you take all your devices, you shove it in a Faraday case, you shut it down, and you let everything just sit there until your computer goes dead. Okay. You go over to your internet, you shut off your internet of your house so that Wi-Fi is no longer working. And then you maybe have a chance to go back to your computer, open the Faraday, and take the battery out and let the computer go completely dead. And then put the computer back in the Faraday case. Just get that computer dead. So no more transactions can take place on it. You may, if you've given away your 20 keywords, you're done. You're done. You will never get them back. So I'm sorry I went off on that rampage, but so many people are losing because they're not being told this stuff. And then there's people out there telling you, get your stuff off the hard wallets and put it back on an exchange. Don't believe that for a flippin' second. Do not believe that for a second. Next question. If your employer provides you health insurance as a benefit and wants to do an audit on it, what can be done about having no social security numbers for your children? It's lawful. Whom you choose not to go the usual way via a birth certificate. Can they deny coverage to the children? No. Both parents have social security numbers on the benefit. No, they can't deny you for not having a social security. Many people in this country do not have social security. Um, there's private health coverage. I get it. You're getting it through the company. But anybody that were to deny you for no social security number, it's a lawsuit. You know, there's federal law protecting that, so don't worry about that. Next question. About the foundation form W-9 reference when you create the form W-9 on the back. I noticed none of the categories were checked on the form. What do I say when the client asks me about the category? We kind of leave it open to people to call it what they want, but because some people don't like the term ministry, humanitarian foundation. So you can check the box and call it a PMA, because they're all PMAs, private membership associations. You can do whatever you want. That's why we leave it blank. Could you please send me the PDF section of the IRS 508 with the highlighted section covering SSM? I think it is this one, 508B7I exemptions. No, that's not it. Um, it's on the documents we provided for you with the foundation, so you can find it in there. Next question. And if you can't, just send if you don't have a document that says SSM explained, just post another question to the ticket. We'll send it to you. I was listening to the Q&A show a couple weeks ago where Kelby mentioned a letter he has to deal with the IRS when they send me a letter. Do you know what that may have been referring to? Matt, letters are very specific. If the IRS is sending you a letter, normally, what is it in reference to? You know, and do you need to respond to every letter the IRS sends? Is the letter specific? Is it phishing? Is it, there's many things I would have to ask. So just having a random question like that, I wouldn't be able to do you justice to answer it. My concern is I may recontract with the IRS for filing for year 2023. How do I avoid doing that? So when you're doing your final tax return, it's noted on the return itself. And the way that we do the 1040 is you're not saying you're a taxpayer. You're not saying, because a state citizen in law is not a taxpayer. So you can't be both. And so the element of how you do the 1040 is understanding that the contract is with the all caps name, and that's the trust, that's the Inslee just individual, which is a corporation, the birth certificate, and that you're going to sign it with the word by in front of your name, and you're going to remove some elements. So we can help people with the 1040s if, obviously you're a VIP member, so just ask the questions online. Ask us to take a quick look at the 1040 and I just tell you what we would do. What I do is I look at the I agree section right before the signatures, and I remove the I agree. I cross out the word taxpayer. They can't tell you what that you can or cannot cross out. You don't need to agree to everything that's on the form. There is nothing, you know, I had somebody cross out a form and or the off the entire section of the I agree. Um and that is a problem in that you need to attest to the validity of the instrument. That's what the word signature means. And if you know they want the attestation that you're agreeing under the pains and penalties of perjury, which if you're doing a tax return that's lawful and not illegal, meaning you're posting all of the taxes due, and you want to make sure that you're just crossing out certain sections and not the pains and penalties of perjury. But I don't care anymore because I'm not contracted to be a party to the IRS or anything. I once had them say, we're going to fine you $5,000 frivolous um, to one of the members for crossing out the paragraph. And we responded with like a double dog dare, and they never heard back again, from the IRS pertaining to how they crossed out because you have a right to agree or not agree to the things. You have a right to not be a taxpayer, meaning they're saying, I agree, I am a U.S. person and taxpayer. And what do you even know what those things mean? Do you even understand what that implies? No. So you don't have to agree to everything that's on every form. Um, but my point is when you're filing your final return on your 2023, we'll help you with the 1040. And there's a cover letter that goes with it saying, this is it, guys. We're not doing it again. This is our final. We have a right to be out. We are a state citizen, and the Supreme Court has already ruled that you cannot be a state citizen and a taxpayer. So therefore, we can cite that all day long, and that would help you to deal with that issue. But you're closing out with your 2023. It's not bringing you back into jurisdiction. You're going to be very specific as to what you're agreeing to on the form, with a full reservation of rights, ARR non-assumpsit, with and or just put non-assumpsit as the signature in cursive right on the document and still cross out whatever you wish to cross out. The IRS does not have the power that people think it has. What the problem is with the IRS is people that earn this money and they file a fake return. The second problem is they earn this money and they file no return. But you go and get a job and you want a W-4 or you do a W-9 and you get this income that you've agreed to pay, and then you don't file a return. Of course, the IRS is going to come after you because you've agreed to the terms. Now, if you file a return, here's what a lot of people don't get. And the term set off and discharge, they have lawful meanings behind them. And so when the IRS says that they are going to set the debt off, that means they are going to get paid using your signature to pay them. And so if you haven't filed a return yet, they have permission from you from a previous return or a previous something, Form 56, to use your signature to create an instrument that gets them paid. And they just need to do notice. So they do these notice letters, and then boom, next thing you know, they're filing returns on your behalf. And people, they need to know these things. This is why we do a total of 9 letters with the IRS, notice of removal of signature on all returns, all grants, all Form 56s, you name it, a notice of status, and then a notice of uh, the revocation of election. And for people that are new and listening, they're going, what is a revocation of election, Kelby? Well, that's in the IRS code. It's right there for people to go look at. You can revoke the election to be a taxpayer. You can revoke the election to be a taxpayer, period. And so, I quoted that there is no the Supreme Court has already ruled in the fact that you don't have to be under the IRS's jurisdiction. And everybody's like screaming, what's that case? There is no such case law. Yeah, state citizenship is all about that. You cannot be a state citizen and a taxpayer. That's one. It's we're not a federal citizen. We are a state citizen. It's an election if we wish to go be a party to the IRS. It's not a requirement. It's not mandatory. We are a creditor. We are not a debtor like a U.S. citizen. There's all kinds of ways to look at not contracting with these parties. And if you're going to contract, you got to do it right. You got to make sure that you have your reservations in place and that you're not bringing yourself into a new agreement. That's why I always say to people, you're only as good as your latest contract. That's why you got to be careful in court, but you can correct anything you do wrong. Just remember that. If you say something wrong in court, or you say something wrong on the IRS docs, or you do an application where you made a reference to being a United States citizen, those are all things that can be corrected upon. Just know that. But you want to correct them. You want to put a record in place that supersedes, what you did in the mistake. And you want to put some record in place that allows for people to see the statement amending the application that you put U.S. citizen, or a reflection of something that makes people feel comfortable with, what you've done. Um, okay, next question. My concern is I may recontract. Yep, yep. If I had no income for the 2023, if you had no income for 2023, there is no tax return. Um, Kelby, next question. I was given a pastoral license out of Texas back in 2000. The private membership association required a monthly fee to maintain the license. The paperwork that every client signed stated that if there was an issue, that it would go to arbitration, not municipal court. The arbitrator was a member of the PMA. However, the PMA, I believe, was sold. Now it is registered with the state, and everything has changed. I already have a private foundation through you. Do I also need a PMA? No. If you offer a PMA, the foundation is a form of a PMA. A PMA is kind of like the box of Kleenex. Okay. You have tissue paper over here. You have, you know, they're both called Kleenex. Even though Kleenex sells their own brand, there's 50 different kinds of Kleenex out there. It's like the name Coke. There's Pepsi, but we always refer to everything as Coke. Even though I don't drink soda anymore. But the point is PMA is like it's a private membership association. Well, so is a 501c3. It can be private. Yes, a 501c3 can be both private and public. Um, a private foundation can be both private and public and can be registered as a 501c, or it can be fall under 508c1a, or it can be unregistered private unincorporated. There's a whole lot of different ways to look at things. But the PMA, you don't need to be a part of any PMA, as your foundation is a form of a PMA, private membership association. But you can develop a specific PMA for different things that you may want to do, and we do those as well. Never had an issue, but I'm not renewing the current PMA. I don't know what you mean by renewing a current PMA, meaning, yeah, I don't understand that. I'm also not renewing liability insurance that went with it. I believe the liability insurance was to protect me if someone got lawsuit happy. You've mentioned PMAs that you offer. Would you suggest in this circumstance? I wouldn't suggest really anything. If you got a foundation, just sit on it. Um, you don't need insurance. You don't need to pay us a monthly. You don't need to pay us an annual. There is no fees associated to running a private, unincorporated, unregistered humanitarian foundation, other than what the bank charges you to have a bank account. Next question. If you have a mortgage on a property, how do you have to change the deed? I have properties that are free and clear with other mortgages. Jackie, listen. That's a question we've answered 1,000 times. And by no means I'm saying I don't want to help you. Uh, just post the question to hisadvocates.org. I'm surprised that I have this in my inbox. There should be plenty of videos that you can watch. We do sell a 495. If you want us to do the deed for you, we can create the deed that you can take down to the county and get it recorded. Um, we can use the foundation that we create for you. If you are a party to the living in the private program, we actually give you a copy of the deed and or a template that you can create for yourself. Now, I'm just going to tell you right now, I have people all the time do the deed template, and then they hand me the biggest pile of crap deed to inspect. And then they think that we need to do all these changes for them. And it's just like, look, time is money. And it is a reality check for a lot of people. A couple of them, I love these guys, and I'll make the changes. But do your best to stay to the template and just copy the template in the order that the template gives, and don't try to make stuff up, and don't put Kingdom of Heaven and these different things. Just look, meets and bounds, name of the foundation, leave the language in it, just copy and paste and put information, give us a deed, and we'll tell you what needs to be changed. And if we need to take that thing over and charge you $100 to fix it, we'll do that. But more than likely, it's not going to cost you anything to get the fixes done, especially if you're a part of the living in the private program, which is why we give it the template to the people in the living in the private program, because they have committed to changing their life and their style. By the way, guys, state citizen are the only people that can own real property, real land. Okay. United States citizens cannot. This is why you put the property in a foundation name, because your name is a U.S. citizen and it's really the name of the birth certificate, which they own. So this is why you want it in the name of a foundation. So the foundation is the loophole to you being able to own land privately, because you, as a United States citizen, it's already been determined by the Supreme Court, cannot own land. Isn't that interesting? Now that's in my book, and we show that off. So we're going to come out with that very soon. And for the people coming in late, we're not on an exact date on when the book's coming out, but pretty quick here. Just hang tight. Next question. I want to get out of the slave system. As a single mom, it seemed I would be buried by the debt. Then the IRS has been harassing me for the past couple of years and made it impossible to get a property and start my wellness center. I feel like somehow this program is the answer to helping me get out of the system. Will I be able to get, will I be able to get out of the system and help more people? What do I need to start the process? Why am I getting this question? Call us. Call us toll free 844 his advo. His HISADVO. If your phone doesn't have the letters on the numbers, it's 844-447-2386. 844-447-2386. And we will walk you through the process of what it takes to get started. All right, next question. I have to fill out the paperwork for the Conservation Reserve Program for property that's been passed from my father in probate before the end of the week. I'm the executor of the estate that has the contract. When I sign these papers, I'll write the word "by" in front of my signature when signing the executor capacity. Correct. You do that when you are operating a trust and corporation, anything. You're always writing the word "by" because you're the representing party, and then you put the name of what your title is. When it asks for the list of the members, heirs that are owners, I want the foundation to be listed. It asks for the EIN, which I do not have yet. I don't know why you don't have an EIN if you've got the foundation from us. Maybe you're waiting on it. I don't know. Maybe you're the only people we are waiting on something from the IRS is, let me see if we got a fax in yet. IRS, you guys are bad guys. Anyway, okay. So, yeah, if you got a foundation from us, you should have your tax ID number. Within reference to listing the members that are heirs, I don't know, because we didn't create the estate for your father that the conservation is contracted to. So if you have questions pertaining to that, I'd have to see the documents. You can transfer the rights of the heirs to the foundation. You can make the beneficiary a foundation, absolutely. And you don't need a tax ID number to do that. When it comes time to obviously benefit from some cash or something that is being passed through an estate or through a trust, You're going to have to be able to open up a bank account to cash that. And yeah, tax ID number may or may not be a requirement to get an account established. Just FYI. All the quarter interest of these title of the title of three parcel held. I've been told by my partners as tenants in common. Their shares are in living trust since the property is to be listed this week on the MLS. My husband and I are thinking we need to gift or insert or transfer our interest into the foundation established in 2023 is the attached. So you can do a private side unrecorded sale gifting your interest in the property to the foundation, notarize it, and witness it. When the cash proceeds come, they're going to ask for a wire. You're going to do a check. You're going to then endorse it yourselves with the two names on the top of the check. And then you're going to put paid to the order of, and you're going to put and make the deposit to the foundation. That's going to match the records you've already created by the private side transfer of your interest in that deed. It's too complicated to do three deeds with your private interests. But you want to make the donation of your interest in those, at least have a public record with the notary signature as a witness. So you are going to take the parcel, the language that's on the deed, you're going to create that kind of private side transfer and donation of your interest into that. And that way you've dotted your I's and crossed your T's. And then when the sale takes place, because anybody can hold a private deed, anybody can hold, a deed in the private. You don't need to register a deed. And so if you now there may be some clause that I don't know about, but I doubt it because you didn't tell me that there was a name of a company that's governing the whole thing. You said three individuals, they're holding theirs in trust, you're holding your interest in your name. So that tells me there's no necessarily agreement other than the deed itself. So the only thing I need to worry about is your relinquished private side interest of your portion of the deed into a donation to the foundation, recorded with witness and notary. Now, when that check comes into the names, you're going to endorse the check and then give the donation appropriately to the foundation. Okay. I read and understand the documents. I'm not sure about the marriage certificate. My husband is not on board with all this. He does not really understand the legal stuff, does not negate the name change that came with the marriage, and it does not change status with the IRS as far back as illegal taxes. They may try to assess to me as I filed them married filing jointly. I'm just not wanting to open a can of worms. There's no can of worms being opened. And if anything, you're sealing your cans that you've got opened until I get a third of all the stuff done. And what about the previous marriages? My first husband is deceased. My other husband she gives me the full name. Do any of these documents need to be filed regarding these relationships? No, just the current. And you both have to be on board as you both signed off on this marriage license. But don't worry about it. Just do what you can um, on your own record. Don't worry about explaining to your husband. Just tell your husband you're going to set aside the marriage license stuff until he understands it. I don't want him to think you're trying to get a divorce secretly or privately. I don't want him to think you're trying to do anything inconspicuously behind his back. Leave it alone. Just work on your personal status. It's just like we're just dotting I's. That's all we're doing. Pam, it's very simple. We're dotting I's, crossing T's, getting stuff cleaned up around the house, making sure all the dirt's, swept away and put in the garbage can outside. That's all we're doing. So do what you can, get the passport done, deal with the IRS, deal with the SSA, deal with the voters, deal with the DMV, leave the marriage license alone until your husband wants to come to the table. And if your husband needs a conversation with me, I'll be more than happy to talk to him and do it all the time. Next question. I saw the Q&A from the other day and Kelby was talking about crypto and how much is the time to buy. I know nothing about crypto. I would like to buy ASAP if possible. I will be going through the living in the private program, but I haven't started yet. Therefore, how would I buy? Doesn't matter how you buy, it matters how you sell. Okay. I'm just going to tell you real quick. Get a VPN on your phone. If you're going to buy, get a VPN on your phone. Virtual private network. There are free ones and there are fee-based ones. Second, Kraken, Coinbase, Uphold, pick one. Download it on your phone. With the VPN turned on, set your phone up to purchase crypto. Start buying. And again, I used to be able to give legal and financial advice. But the reality is, many people listening are not a party to being a member, but I don't care. Guys, do your research, do your homework. But I'm going to tell you right now, crypto, everything, and this president, current president, has acknowledged what I'm saying. Making crypto part of the strategic reserve, making crypto the future way all things are being paid, making crypto, making all retirement accounts, being able to invest in crypto. It's going. Um, I started talking about this 6 years ago. I named specifically one coin, XRP, and I told the people, run, don't walk. And then within a month, XRP was sued. Okay. Everybody freaked out. It was taken off all the exchanges. I stayed the course because it looked and it smelled. And the lawsuit smelled. I stayed the course. The crypto never went down in value. It always goes up and down a little bit. What happened is that crypto that I've been telling people to buy has gone up over 1,500%, or actually more. But the reality is, if you'd have put a $10,000 in it, it'd be worth $150,000. You can't do that on stocks. You can on certain ones when you're there in the very beginning. And this is one of those things. You got to be there in the very beginning. We are here in the very beginning. Jump, don't walk, jump, run, stop what you're doing. Get yourself some XRP, some XLM, some XDC, some HBAR, some IOTA, some Solana, whatever. Look at the ISO coins. ISO 20022. ISO 20022. Compliant currencies. Those are what the world order is utilizing to making sure they have control of all the way the money moves around the world. XRP, in my opinion, came out of the NSA. Bitcoin, in my opinion, came out of the NSA. XRP, Ripple is the oldest. Ripple, the company, is the oldest cryptocurrency company. And that lawsuit is the lawsuit that made XRP the only company on the face of the earth that has crypto that is considered a currency. So it's on like Donkey Kong. Look, it's at $3.26 as we speak. It's going to be one of those currencies. If it had 1%, if it moved only 1% of the world's assets, 1%, and it's poised to do them all, 1% would put XRP at $900 per coin. 1%. I want you to think very hard right now about your decision. Buckle yourself down, download the app. Instead of buying coffee, buy one XRP every day. If that's all you did, you would benefit. Okay? One XRP. I'm telling you, it is by far the best asset that you could buy. Companies like BlackRock, State Street, all those companies are in the talk and the works right now with Ripple on creating ETFs, meaning investments that companies can invest in. 159 million is the market cap, or somewhere in there. I'd have to look. But the bottom line, watching how much money goes in, 159 billion, excuse me, how much money goes in versus how much capital was actually driven into to create that market capitalization is very different number. And I'm not going to take the time to explain it right now, but the bottom line is you take a buy, you take a sell, you take a buy, you take a sell, and you look at what's left over as actual capital that has stayed into the pool of XRP. And when we went up 100 billion, it was about $150 million that was actually invested into XRP. Right now, ETFs are coming into mainstream where trillions of dollars is going to be invested. And we just saw Ripple go from 50 cents to about 350 overnight because of a little bit of money coming in. Now watch trillions come in and watch Ripple overnight go to huge numbers. Again, doesn't matter how you buy, matters how you sell. So what we're going to do, become a VIP member, join us on Tuesdays and Thursdays, 8 a.m. We're talking about this kind of stuff. And when it comes down and comes time, we will have a system set up for you guys to choose from about the players that are out there that you can take your gains and not ever sell your XRP. You don't want to give it up because it's going to be like one of those things. XRP isn't like gold. They keep finding gold. You're not going to find any more XRP. XRP is going to get sold out. And they're going to do everything they can to get their hands on XRP. And so you're going to have to figure out ways to monetize your XRP without giving it up and without selling it. And those are the things that we're going to help you with. So consider joining as a VIP member and consider growing. Cost $49 a month. But we're going to be helping people to understand how to capitalize on the biggest profit margins. And again, if you would have listened to me 5 or 6 years ago, and many of you did, and I get a thank yous nearly almost every single day from somebody, and it's one of the biggest blessings in the world for me to get a thank you from somebody. Kelby, thank you for the update. Looking forward to watching your videos always. As you prophesize, I didn't prophesize. XRP is about to go ballistics. When the price was at 58 cents, I sold my 2024 Kia Sportster to gift $30,000 to my daughter. Well, she bought XRP, or he bought XRP for her. Now I'm so glad he kept encouraging people to invest in it. It's comforting to know. And everybody that's I have told to do this, that did it, is extremely appreciative. And I'm thanking God because this was one of those things that you don't look at the you don't look at the creation of the XRP itself. You look at all the controversy around it, and that's what built the picture for me of what it really was. Where a lot of people were looking at the circumstances instead of the implied meaning of what's going to happen because of what it was going through. Like it's now a currency and the only regulatable currency in the world, according to the SEC. It cost Ripple 200 million in legal fees, 4.5 still ongoing settlements, all being done by design. Now Ripple's becoming a bank, and all the banks are saying, oh, hell no. Do you know why? Because they will become the most powerful entity in the world. They don't need to take over SWIFT to move all the international transactions. All they needed to do was give the banks the ability to move international transactions dirt cheap. Now they're all using Ripple. Guys, we are in the beginning of something huge. Get it? Spend a couple of days, buckle down, get yourself in a cave, get on a VPN, buy the crap out of it, get it to a hard wallet, put it in a Faraday sleeve, tuck it away, and just sit on it. Stop trading it. Stop thinking you're going to follow some guru and he's going to show you how to trade it and monopolize this and monopolize that. And guys talking about doing this with an LLC and doing that. Just listen. We're going to lay out for you how you can have it all tax free and do God's work and be able to crush it with real money. And I don't mean gold and silver, but you can buy the crud out of gold and silver if you wish down the road when the revaluations are going to go through the roof. Because Ripple, overnight, I'm just saying. I'm going to be shocked if we're not at $1,000 by 2030. And that's being so conservative. It could be by the end of the month, could be by the end of the year, but I'm just going to say $1,000 by 2030. Be very conservative. That's 5 years from now. That's 1% of the money moving around the globe through Ripple. That means Ripple, who has over 70% of all the banks worldwide right now, listen to what I'm saying, right now, moving through the XRPL, the ledger, if they only have 1% actually moving the money through Ripple's ledger, through XRP, $900 is the valuation of an XRP token. Do the math. Okay. It's been very stable. And the real USD and all these stable coins that are out there, they're only going to pump up XRP. Stop thinking, do and ask all the necessary questions, do your own research. I always am having somebody say to me that I heard you tell me this when it was 22 cents, 20 cents. And now they're eating their shorts. So just know I'm trying to stop what you're doing. I had a friend, Mr. Chapman, you know who you are, tell me to buy Bitcoin back in 2010, 11, 12, whatever it was. It was 5 or 10 bucks. I don't know what it was. I'd have been worth like 300 million. It's crazy. Life would have been very different. I don't know if his advocates would have been here or not. I'm just being honest. You know what I mean? But God, in his infinite work and his plan, does what he does. And so here I am. But the bottom line is, I'm not making that same mistake twice. And you can't hold on to all this stuff yourself. You can't take this stuff with you when you die. So give it all to God right now and do his work right now and let God benefit and be of use and stop thinking you're going to buy Lambos and this, that, and the other. We're going to go to war with this money in a lot of different respects against the dastardly work of the devil in this world. We are going to do some great things together. Just know that. And it doesn't matter if it's was created by the bad guys. Trust me when I tell you, if we all could get our minds wrapped around how they work and how they expose themselves, and it's crazy. Um, yeah, Chris, the U.S. citizen is technically a federal employee, yet cannot own land. That's a Supreme Court ruling. Going to be released in my book in hopefully a few days. I know I've been promising it, but it is what it is. We need to make it perfect. We can't have any issues. Um, don't worry about, again, being in the living in the private, having a foundation. Just buy it. We can show you how to donate it to your foundation when you're ready to do it. Just get it on your phone, buy it at the rates that you can buy it at right now. Download Kraken, Coinbase, Uphold.com. Uphold's an app, and get it on your phone ASAP. Next question. I'm really confused on the all caps name attaching to my mail, my home address. For example, I'm a nurse practitioner, practice in a medical clinic. Obviously, I'm going to get mail and name to the office. Is that an issue? It's my place of employment. Should I be doing something differently to this? Okay, so I've addressed this a lot. I'm going to try to do this quickly. What I did in developing the living in the private program, I went to the extreme of looking at warrants and indictments to determine how a corporation was getting jurisdiction over people. And how they do it is the all caps name and the use of or the holding the office of the U.S. citizen, which is the birth certificate. So when you receive mail in the all caps name and you open it up, or when you register a car at the DMV in the all caps name, or when you have a personal bank account in the all caps name, they're going to use that against you in the event of they want to get a warrant or indictment against you. Now, just saying that to you, I'm not trying to scare you. I'm just saying I went to the far right extreme to try to create the most safe and lucrative program possible for a state citizen. Now, as a state citizen, the trickery is just how I said it, how they get jurisdiction. So the goal, and this is the hardest part to complete, is how do you get people to mail things to you in care of your foundation name and not your name? So you got to figure that out. It's not mandatory to be a state citizen, but if you want to dot all your I's and cross all your T's and take that element of them having jurisdiction over you completely off the table, stop using the name to receive mail in. Just have people mail in care of the foundation name. And if something comes into the name, don't, what I do now, because it's so old, I just refuse it, send it back. No such person exists at this address. And then I'll call them and I'll say, hey, I told you, put it in the name of the foundation in care of this name, and that's it. Because I don't want people to get those things against me. And I don't want to be perceived as holding an office. And so that's why we do that. So that's the hardest part of the living in the private, is to get other people understanding how to mail things to you. Okay, I'm thinking of using an international acquisition and merger company to sell the brick and mortar. We are charging 12% on the back end when the sale. They are charging 12% on the back end when the sale happens. Are you aware of any brokerage firms that I could connect with for the marketing, the sale, just to consider all options? There's businesses, you can sell businesses online without property or land attached to it all day long. I don't know if it's loop.net or, yeah, I haven't been asked that question, Jamie, in some time. But there's all kinds of businesses for sale online, and there's all kinds of websites. I just spent a couple minutes researching that, but no direct awareness. My apologies. Um, I'm just going to read something. I don't really understand it at this point. Number 9, below states, I will keep it until they send something. So does that mean I send the renewal signed with Walter Steffen, da 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 da, of da da da, or non-assumption? Am I so used to, after 69 years of a life, accustomed to follow rules, but not trying my best to continue to be transformed or of a renewed mind? Okay, so Walter, like I did this at the beginning of the call with people as kind of a funny. Um, People tell us that we need to do certain things, and our shoulders are forward, and our mind is in a state of obedience and submissive nature. And I want you to be the apex of, we are the apex predator in the world. I want you to understand that's what a man is. And you can put your shoulders back, you can have your chest out a little bit, and you can breathe deep, and you can have a confidence about you, and you can say the words no and no thank you, and do it with a smile. And you can even do this one where you put your hands on your side like that. Very powerful. Changes everything in your mind for how you feel. And saying no is really a new word. I can't begin to tell you how many times I'm like, no thank you, I really appreciate that, but this is really what's going to happen today. I want you to understand, I'm going to get my counsel on the phone, and he's going to walk me through, and he'll walk you through how to not give me legal advice for these things you're trying to do. And we're going to get this done. We're going to get the accounts open. We're going to all feel better. And I'm going to walk out of here the winner. You know, um, I got to tell you, man, it's, if I need to talk to a manager or something to help them understand that you got to stop giving people legal advice, this is something I already paid for before I walked in here. It really shakes people up at the core. But don't worry about signing anything any certain way. Just make sure you're doing a reservation of rights on that DL renewal, which is what I think you're asking. If you're asking something different, restate your question. Um, Second part of your question, declarant will retain the actual driver's license on behalf of the registered organization known as da 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 until the owner of said license informs da 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 in writing with a letter certifying da da da. Okay, there's no question attached to that. You're just writing something off of our documents that we gave you. You can give up the license or keep the license until they are forcing people to have something implanted or injected to be able to have a driver's license. You can contractually have a license in your pocket with full rights and interests as a state citizen held. Remember, the birth certificate, which was used to get the driver's license, is the U.S. citizen. So everything that we are doing is on behalf of, which is the Ins Legis Trust. It's the corporation, and they are issuing the license to that all caps name. You're never going to see an upper and lowercase name on any of your docs with the United States Corporation. It's always going to be to the all caps name. So you are not that person. Now, I'm not going to get into saying go make an argument with a judge about that. Don't do that stuff. We're talking about contracts here. And when you're doing contracts and reservations, you want to make sure that you're delineating yourself from being that person. And adding the word by in front of your signature is a delineation that you are a representing party for that person. Now, are you the beneficial interest or are you the trustee? All stuff I don't have time to do right now, but the bottom line is reserving your rights on those important documents, and the DL is the most important. So asking more specific question. I would keep the license, don't get rid of it. Remove that one paragraph, getting rid of the license until they start doing forced injections and so forth. To have a driver's license. On another matter, is it an issue to donate, transfer a condominium apartment as a part of an unincorporated association? No issue. I have reason to believe that the condominium I live in is in a property of an unregistered association trust. Any thoughts, concerns? Um, it may be, but how is your deed? Do you, the deed and all the points of the deed that make the deed belong to the states or the United States, is everything. So post a copy of your deed, and I'll show you why on the deed, all the elements of the deed are pointing to you not being an owner. So it's never really how it's owned as an unincorporated association. It's the style of the exchange document, the deed. It may require a consult, may not. If you're a VIP member, just post it. Do you know where Kelby got a stamp 2:5 style type font? There are so many online places where you can create stamps. I don't remember where I got my stamp created. Just go, you literally can write it all out. Say I want it in 6 size, 5 size font. I want it to be this long, single line. I want it to say this. There's so many build your own stamp online kind of a thing. All right, I'm gonna do this for about 15 more minutes. I have a feeling we are going to carry over to Thursday at 4 o'clock to finish the answers of your questions. And these are some good questions. But I can't answer them all today. Would a certified copy of a judgment recorded at the county recorders help me to stop a title company from releasing a lien amount to a liener? Would a certified copy of the judgment recorded at the county recorders help me to stop a title company from releasing a lien? So you got a lien against somebody with a recorded judgment. They can't release, a title company cannot release a lien. I would file a lis pendens against the property, and I'd go take your judgment and go get it converted into a maritime lien and file that against the property. There's all kinds of things that you can do. I don't know why they're releasing a lien, but a judgment can be filed against a property at a county recorder. You just got to look up how to do that. Every county is a little bit different. Is there a special kind of paperwork one has to do? I personally thought that the lawyer was supposed to put in a revocation of a lien or something like that. Neither lawyer did such. I'm kind of missing, I guess, your question. The liener thinks that if he isn't released the lien, even though he lost the suit. Oh, so somebody has a lien on your property. He lost the case, and title is not removing the lien. You just got to go and take a copy of the lawsuit down to the title company and say remove the lien immediately, and the title will do that for you. I get it now. Hey Damon, we don't answer questions live on this. Just post your question into the Q&A. I'm going to take the balance of the questions that are in the Q&A, copy them, and probably answer the rest of them on Thursday at 4 o'clock in 2 days. Just can't get to every question. Thanks, Damon. Appreciate you. Ripple is the company, XRP is the digital asset. Amen. I live in Maine. When I tried to, I'll answer your question right now, Damon. When I live in Maine, answered without prejudice. They told me I had to just sign my name only. How do I deal with this? It's a good question. So I just sign in cursive non-assumpsit, and they can't tell me how to handwrite my signature. So sign in cursive non-assumpsit. Next question. I've attached the first page of the bankruptcy application for the Social Security. Item number 5 asks, are you a citizen of the United States of America? Are you an alien lawfully presented? Just click you are a citizen of the United States of America. Yeah. It actually probably says, are you a citizen of the United States? Just click yes, and don't make that an argument with a application on the Social Security. Don't worry about that. Just make sure you sign with the word by in front of your name, because the name on the application is in all caps. You want to do the representing party. You want to make sure you delineate yourself always on applications as the representing party. Next question. Thank you and congrats. Greatly appreciate it. It does feel like a big win the faster we complete all of this. Topic number 1, sending money out from the foundation, though, which proper process, form of payment reporting should my foundation send money out to support other LLCs and family members? Any which way you want. It doesn't matter, ACH. You don't have any reporting requirements to anybody. You can send any which way you want. Zelle, ACH, doesn't matter. If I give my foundation money out, does that cause reportable IRS event? Only for the people that may be receiving it. They may be construed as it being a benefit or an income to them. I don't ever, I just pay bills with the foundation. There's no way, if somebody is in my family, I'm going to create them a foundation so they can receive capital in and not have to worry about a taxable event in the future. So just think about that. Question number 2, contribution versus a donation letter. Contribution is the same meaning and backing, except donation sometimes is associated to a nonprofit. A foundation is not a nonprofit. A foundation is tax exempt. So a contribution letter gives the people the exact same ability to create a deduction on their own benefit and behalf. If they make a payment to your foundation and you give them a contribution letter, they can make those deductions privately and personally on their IRS, whether it says contribution or donation. Okay, got through those questions. Beautiful. Excellent. Going to the Q&A. Michael, can a private foundation get a business credit card, or is it any type of credit impossible without public trust? So they will not issue a credit card to a private foundation as they can't find it anywhere. I do know of people that have gotten secured lines for their foundations. I don't recommend that because the contracts I don't like them. Plus, I don't like using what belongs to God to get credit. God does not want anybody or anything that's under him to be the surety or be a debtor. Just think about those things. I always tell people to be debt free. Don't be a, don't, be the surety for anybody else's debt, just like the Bible says. Just be very careful what you do with the foundation that belongs to God, that's all. Once I am through the LPP, my wife, who is not going through, will be able to file her 1040 jointly correct. She's going to file individual, married, sole, and separate. You will not be filing anymore if you do your job right. Will she be able to claim our children as dependents? Yeah, of course. Um, Once they are in the private also, yeah, because she's paying for them and she's choosing how to use her income. So yeah, she can still use those kids as dependents. If we have normal health insurance through the hospital that my wife works at, how will we remove the SSNs that are required for the coverage? You won't because your kids have them, and the use of them on the insurance is not going to cause a jurisdictional presumption or hurt you at all. So don't worry about that. Is the book available on Amazon yet? Nope. Very soon. I'm not giving it any more days. We just run into things we're fixing. That's it. Sorry, guys. Have you had any clients go through the living in the private program who have governmental security clearances? As a matter of fact, Craig, a co-writer of the book, worked with the DOD, DOS, Treasury, DOJ. Highest level clearances possible. Did private security for presidents, IT work, different things like that. Yes. I have a clearance and wouldn't want to jeopardize it. Are state citizens able to go down the whole life insurance policies, practices of infinite banking, concepts such as a policy as a state citizen? I believe in life insurance. I don't believe that you're going to need infinite banking being tax exempt. The whole purpose of the infinite banking is so that you can be tax exempt. You are tax exempt. So put it all in a foundation. Those types of infinite banking buy continually more insurance, more insurance, more insurance. You keep putting money into this and you keep borrowing it against it. And why do you need to borrow against it? So you can have an income tax free event. Why not just put it in a foundation, make everything that you have, put it in a foundation, make God own everything right now, and be the fiduciary. Now you're in a tax exempt lifestyle. And as a state citizen, you're the beneficial interest. You're living through it on it and no tax base whatsoever. Do I believe in life insurance? I actually do. Um, but life insurance really is there for people that are debtors. Life insurance is really there for people that have a mortgage, have cars that they need to pay off, or if they have a wife or a husband that, where the wife dies and she was the primary or he was the primary, whatever. And now there's that lifestyle that's still expected, but there's no income. That's where life insurance kicks in. Um, so that's why I believe in it. But if you do, if you do do it right over the next couple of years, the events that are taking place right now are forever going to change everything. And the amount of capital that you're going to be able to have in and through private trust, private foundations, and what you're going to be able to own, and the money you're going to be able to pull down off the interest earned on your capital that you're never going to have to sell is going to neglect the need for a universal life policy or any kind of life policy whatsoever, because there will be a pass through of all the assets. There will be no taxable liability, no death tax, which is another reason for life insurance. There'd be no need for a worry of income tax. There'd be no need for worry of anything. You just, God owns everything. You're passing this through to your children, you're teaching them the true way, the biblical way of helping your kids understand you can't own anything. Christ owns everything. And you're a fiduciary, you're a responsible party. Do ministry while you're here. And take a portion, like give an example. When these cryptos hit, and they will hit, I'm looking at 20-30% of the crypto going into a smart contract at 7 to 10% yield. So for a round number, take 1 million in crypto and you can get 7 or 10 points on that. Whatever, it's going to be much more than that, which is a reality check for a lot of people. But now you have an income stream. Now take another 20, 30, 40% and go get a capital, an equity, a hard money equity loan against it, and then use the payments of interest on the primary that you already are staking somewhere to make the hard money capital loan of the money that you're going to get advanced. So you're going to take another, let's say you have 10 million in crypto, and that's not far-fetched for anybody that has bought crypto right now. And y'all know what I'm talking about. Y'all know. So you take, let's say 2 or 3 million and you're making an interest on that. You're going to take another whatever loan against the balance, never selling your crypto. You're going to go get a hard money loan against the balance, holding your crypto forever, letting it go up in value forever. And then the only thing you're going to be doing is refinancing the debt that you're making to a lower interest and getting more capital out of it, all while retaining the full value of your asset base, because crypto is going to always go up in value, especially the ones that we're holding and we're talking about. So that's real infinite banking. That's and there's some great infinite banking concepts around that, but it's not needed when it's in a foundation and when you've already dedicated it to God right now. What his advocates does is it teaches people how to live biblically while outside of the jurisdiction of these corporate structures that are masquerading as governments. And we teach you how to live under God directly, and we show you in the law where you're able to do this. Like it's literally in the law for you to be able to do this both privately and as a foundation. So why not give all the assets that we have right now to God? And let's hold on to these assets and not sell them, but let's put them to work for us and use a infinite banking concept, and see, they always say, and when you die, now the capital, the life insurance from the infinite banking is going to pay the debts down, allowing for the assets to pass through to the individuals. Who cares? If you do it all through a foundation, the entirety of the program passes to the child. Now, the child's going to be watching. He's going to have capital in accounts. He's going to have apartment buildings. He's going to have, homes all invested in a foundation name that all are tax exempt, all go through different elements of being tax or where capital gains would normally apply. They're not going to apply. There's not going to be a death tax. You're not going to have a beneficial interest tax because you've structured it in an LLC or a trust or whatever. You always just give it to God right now, and it bypasses all of that. And that's the difference of a trust and a foundation. A foundation is not going to have a moment where somebody's going to have a taxable event. Okay, a foundation is going to use the standard operating agreement, the will, inside of the foundation to pass the assets on to the next generation. Now, the assets are going through probate. No, it's going to go through the death, but not probate. And it's going to be delivered in full tact with no difference because you're not going to be redoing a deed. You're not going to be transferring a deed to a child's name, and now it's going to have another taxable liability. You're just going to show the kids how to operate inside of God's law with all the exemptions necessary. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. There isn't any trust out there that can do this. This is why you want to create the foundation, give it to God now, and then create a standard operating agreement to pass everything on to your children. And yeah, our foundations pretty much already have that, but you want to be maybe more specific inside of a foundation to help the kids understand. But you got to raise the kids up in the way of the Lord, you know. And that's the issue, And some of y'all don't have kids, and you may want to do work with this beyond. So let's talk about that and figure out what you're interested in helping out. And that's what you make happen for your foundation forever while somebody is the executor over that, making sure that takes place your will, your way. Anyway, I'm gonna call it a day. I'm tired of talking. What I'm gonna do is highlight all these questions that are in here. I got them. Copy them and make sure I got them. And yep, they're all there. Okay. So I'm going to post them to a Thursday Q&A. I will be back Thursday, 4 p.m. to answer the balance of the questions that were in here. And guys, thank you for coming. I really appreciate it. Do me a favor, tell your friends about hisadvocates.org. Uh, if you want to get notification of this, text the word freedom to the following 855-452-0499. Text the word freedom. And I'm going to put that in the comments here, and I'm also going to put it on the YouTube. You probably, most of you already probably get a text notification. You always, but if you join hisadvocates.org, you're going to get a notice. We're going to text you, we're going to email you. But we are going to stick with Mondays primarily at 4 p.m. If we have follow-up questions we weren't able to get to on Monday, we're going to have a Thursday at 4 p.m. of every week, unless all the questions get answered on Monday. Okay. But God bless you guys. Thank you for joining. I always appreciate you coming in and having these questions. Remember, you don't have to say yes. Take a deep breath, put your shoulders back, stand up straight, stick your chest out a little bit. Maybe turn to the side and put your hands on your side, just like that. Feel it, live in it. You can say no. It's cool. You can say no, and you can be in control of any environment you want. God bless you. We'll see you Thursday, 4 p.m. Pacific to address the balance of the questions. Have a great